education and Jewish communal service. But lucky for Temple Israel, she's been our award-winning educator for the past 20 years. You might call her our superstar, as she is the heart and soul at Temple Israel, running our very active Torah Center, adult education programs known as Joys of Jewish Learning, and during our current pandemic, Sharon has been instrumental in creating and running many creative and delightful programs on Zoom, helping to keep our community together. Doing all this along with managing a very active household with her kids and her 4 kids and her husband, Adam. So it's my pleasure to introduce you to Sharon, who will do a short educational piece for us about Shavuot. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you so much, Bobby. That was so sweet. You know, I hear you say that I went to the University of Colorado, and it just doesn't feel that long ago, but my oldest child just decided where she's going to college. So I guess time flies when you're in Jewish education and having fun. So thank you so much for the beautiful introduction, and special thanks to NCJW for the lovely honor of being part of your installation ceremony this afternoon. When I was a child, my mom was an active member in council in Dallas, Texas. I have wonderful memories of their meetings in my living room and attending performances of council singers, a choral group. Maybe you all want to think about forming a choral group at many local nursing homes and hospitals. I can still hear them singing, "I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'd like to hold it in my arms and keep it company." But I won't keep singing for you, but I do have wonderful memories of the council singers. I was asked to share a few words with you all today about Shavuot and the lessons that we gain from this sometimes under-observed yet terribly rich in wisdom holiday. This past Thursday evening and Friday, we celebrated Shavuot. Shavuot is one of 3 Jewish pilgrimage Jewish festivals, along with Passover and Sukkot, historically when the Jewish people would make a pilgrimage to the ancient temple in Jerusalem. Shavuot commemorates the historical grain harvest in ancient Israel, as well as the receiving of the Torah at Mount Sinai. It is celebrated by all-night learning, eating dairy foods, and reading stories which focus on accepting Torah and confirming one's Jewish identity, like the story of Ruth. Perhaps some of you were able to take advantage of the many online Tikkun Leil Shavuot programs this year, or had the time to make homemade blintzes, dairy kugel, or cheesecake. I know that we enjoyed a delicious Caesar salad with extra Parmesan cheese and a yummy kugel for dinner. At the beginning of April, we began counting the Omer, the 49 days between Passover and Shavuot. As we counted each day of the Omer, we were engaged in a process of counting up and an increased mindfulness of where we were on this symbolic journey from slavery to the receiving of Torah. The idea of counting up is an interesting one. I invite you to pause for a moment and think about the difference between counting up and counting down. There are times in our lives when we count down to something. Days or moments until graduation, a special trip, retirement, a birthday, or even a launch to space. And then there are times in our lives when we count up, like the weeks of a pregnancy or a number of birthdays or years of marriage. During Hanukkah, we of course light an additional candle each night, counting up to 8 and a full Hanukkah. And we count up the days of the Omer until we reach 49. I personally really like the idea of counting up. There's a sense of moving forward with intention. There's a sense of awareness of our journey along the way, an opportunity to make each day count. We actively say today is the X number of the Omer. We can look ahead, but at the same time, we focus on where we are at this moment in time. One of my favorite parts of Shavuot is the studying of the book of Ruth. Ruth's story of choosing Judaism, even with the knowledge that it might not be an easy road ahead for her as a Jew, reminds us that the acceptance of Torah is a choice that we get to make every day. Our commitment to mitzvot, acts of tikkun olam, and demonstrations of loving kindness reminds us of our relationship with God and the important role that we play as Jewish women in the world. At this significant time in history, may we all be reminded of our power to choose Judaism, like Ruth, every day. And may that choice propel us toward making the world a better place. May you all be blessed along your journey as the leaders of NCJW, always counting up and moving forward in your important work. Thank you so much.
Yasher Koach. Thank you, Sharon.
You're welcome.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon.
My pleasure.
And can you hear that sound, Sharon?
Yeah.
Yes, can you hear that sound? Absolutely. May it be so.
Okay, I don't know if Lisa or Sharon have anything to say, but the next on the agenda.
We have the agenda loaded on the screen.
Let me, yes, let me share my screen.
And we want to thank Dale for doing so much for us in rehearsals and in setting up Zoom and making this a possibility for all of us. So at this time, we ask Linda Fox to do the confirmation of the election results.
I would like Dale to put up the screen. There it is. Okay. Yay. Those of you who participated in our election in April, you know that we did it by email, but our bylaws and the national bylaws say we must have an election at a meeting, and therefore we are going to confirm the results of our election. As you see, the slate that was elected in April, but we need to confirm it so that we have met the letter of the law with our bylaws. So Dale, how do we do this? The reactions have a thumbs up, is that right? Or we should just do a hand, but we have to have a vote. You're muted, Dale. Can't hear you.
Sorry, let's just raise hands or put your thumbs up if you know how to do that. And then Linda asked for nay and so on, and I'll count those.
Okay.
So,
we need a motion to approve the election results. May I have a motion?
I so move.
Seconded. Sharon Brannan, second. Any discussion? No. All in favor? Now either do a thumbs up with under your reactions button at the bottom, or just raise your hand.
There's a little raise your hand on my buttons.
Dale, are you counting?
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Go ahead. I have a count. Go ahead.
Okay. We have all those in favor have their hands up. Our ayes. Any noes? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Okay. Now we have to get that out of the way. Okie dokie. Now, Dale, will you? Okay. Thank you. I don't want to do a damper here, but I wanted to read you something because of the times we live in, and it kind of goes along with the Shavuot theme. Zach Benjamin of Jewish Long Beach wrote the following, and I think I couldn't say it any better. The Torah teaches us that life is holy, and that each individual is created in the image of God. Thus, when life is cheapened, threatened, and taken in malice, it is not only an affront to us as Jews and as human beings, but it obligates us to find and heal the source of this moral failure. As Jews, as Californians, and as members of the human race, we must insist, and I want to add, and we must work toward the moment that no individual ever again be targeted by their fellow human beings for their race, their religion, or their socioeconomic status. So I wanted to share that. Installation is a time of celebration, but I wanted to acknowledge that we are living in this historic moment. Let me go on, which is the annual report, and we've done it both in my words and in pictures. So I hope you enjoy this. We began our journey for 2019-20 in June of 2019 at Compton Youth Build with the theme of Learn, Connect, Imagine, Do. Those of us who participated will not soon forget the scintillating icebreaker discussion on how we place the roll of toilet paper. Who would have thought that in March 2020, we would be scavengers who searched for a supply, no matter how we placed it on the roll? So we certainly, since then, have learned, connected, done, and the current situation has caused us to imagine new ways to reach our goals. We will hear and we will do. Our Shavuot theme characterizes what leadership in NCJW Long Beach has always been about. So our activities began with NCJW Long Beach co-sponsoring an event, the top photograph that you're looking at, organized by the Orange County Jewish Coalition for Refugees in celebration of World Refugee Day on June 30. Fueled by our desire to expand our activities into West Orange County, our organization subsequently became a coalition partner. I will note that we currently have no less than 10 coalition boards with our representatives in Greater Long Beach and West Orange County. And we work with many, many other partners as well. So connect, we have done. July rallies, the second photograph there. July rallies protesting the separation of families at detention centers at our southern border and advocating for their closing, and participating, the next one, Dale, participating in a rally sponsored by Planned Parenthood, again, in support of reproductive choice and justice, both, again, in Orange County. These two were followed by an August hug packing event that was very, very well attended and led by co-chairs Lydia Pinto and Sarah Millman Silva. And this is the first in our annual community series of 4, and we managed 3 this year for students taken into the foster care system. At the end of August, co-chairs for voting in elections, Deborah Chankin, Dale, and Janet Rosenblatt got our registration efforts rolling, and throughout September registered 45 new voters at 4 community college campuses and participated in National Voter Registration Day, September 24th at Cal State Long Beach. September also featured 2 really major events. On September 5th, the first of the series, Pastry and Politics of I'm going to, excuse me for 1 minute, I'm taking it off the hook. Okay, so at the bottom you have our first Pastry and Politics our series this year on sex trafficking in Long Beach on September 5th. And we had a wonderful panel of a juvenile court judge, a police detective from the trafficking division, a provider of resources to victims, and a former victim and now victim advocate who educated us from their particular perspectives. This was put together by Advocacy Co-Chair Barbara Shipnuck and Trafficking Chair Diana Martyr, with support by other members. And a different kind of membership event. Next slide, Dale. Membership event in September planned by our co-VPs of membership, Natalie Swit and Michelle Stryker, delighted the attendees of Sing Shalom with its sing-along led by cantor Nancy Linder of Beth David, who entertained us with Jewish classics and Broadway tunes. We heard from one of our 4 scholarship recipients, Taryn Williams, who is on the top picture there, with Rami, the chair of scholarships, whose story had us all amazed. And we also heard from member Laurel Perry, whose daughter Sophia was among the other recipients. Next slide. At the beginning of October, Jean Holiday offered Project Shavuot at Bixby Towers with a high holiday theme. And at the end of the month, thanks to the leadership of Judy Lorber and Judy Leff, a relaxing and fun game day was held at Seacliff Country Club. In the middle of the month, which is what you're looking at on top, many members of NCJW Long Beach saluted the work of our coalition partner, the Long Beach Immigrant Rights Coalition, at their annual fundraiser dinner. The second pastry and politics meeting of our year, led by co-VPs Cynthia Gordon and Barbara Shipnuck and Executive VP Sherry Sobel, kicked off the month of November with a stellar panel of speakers hailing from UCI and Planned Parenthood of Orange and San Bernardino counties on reproductive rights, health, justice. And on November 17th, the bottom picture, Community Services co-VPs Barbara Cohen and Deb Lewis presented the For the Child Tea, collecting foodstuffs to make Thanksgiving a bit brighter for that agency's families in need of help. Our second Hug Pack party, this time for middle school foster children, was also held in November, on November 19th. Next slide. On December 15th, our Hanukkah potluck celebration, organized by our program co-VPs Sharon Brannon and Lisa Ralphman at our member Diane Merrick's beautiful home, was, as always, a festive event with good food, great company, and a toy collection for the children served by For the Child. And Bobby Horowitz, Resource Development VP, supported by Executive VP Joanne Levy, brought for sale the beautiful and unique Break the Ceiling pins and pendants designed for NCJW Long Beach by artist Vivian Shimoyama, which we continue to make available for purchase. That's a plug. NCJW also adopted 2 families through Jewish Family and Children's Service and prepared holiday baskets for them, thanks to the efforts of our shopping maven, Jean Holiday. In January, the next slide. In January, our program co-VPs Sharon Brannon and Lisa Rothman arranged a very interesting and well-attended Shirley Stein book review, our joint program with Sharon Carmel Hadassah, that featured history professor Stephen J. Ross of USC and his Pulitzer-nominated book, Hitler in Los Angeles, How Jews Foiled Nazi Plots Against Hollywood and America. We provided sign-in and information table support, next slide, as well as backpacks for the first of our kindergarten festivals on January 11th, followed by 2 more in February. January is Trafficking Awareness Month, and NCJW members joined in the long-standing outreach poster project, and we also staffed the sign-in and information table for our coalition partner, the Long Beach Human Trafficking Task Force's 5th Annual Youth Empowerment Safety Symposium, yes, on January 25th, and that's what you're looking at right there with Hannah and me and other volunteers. On January 29th, NCJW Long Beach's Sherry Sobel and Deborah Chankin, along with co-sponsor Temple Israel, presented a very well-attended pastry and politics event featuring a diverse panel of Superior Court judges who explained how the system works with respect to appointment and elections of California judges. Next slide. February began with our third Hug Pack session, at which we prepared for 3rd to 5th graders. And the month of February, very importantly, marks the month of our charter as a section of NCJW. This year, we celebrated 74 years on February 16th. An enjoyable and successful Charter Day luncheon took a small village to plan and execute. Thanks go to the co-VPs of program, Sharon Brannon and Lisa Rothman, the VP of Resource Development, Bobby Horowitz, our treasurer, Dawn Haldane, our membership co-VPs, Natalie Swit and Michelle Stryker, and all of the incredible volunteers who made this event one of our very best. Congressman Alan Lowenthal was honored with the Hannah G. Solomon Award, and we were movingly entertained by members of the Jewish Women's Theater of Los Angeles. To cap off the month, membership, legislation, and advocacy and community service joined forces on February 27th to present a housewarming for the homeless, where we learned about the situation in the Long Beach area, made blankets to donate, and collected what you see on the screen in the trunk of the car, the blankets on the right. And the next day, a number of people went to actually visit the multi-service center to which we donated these things. Before the COVID-19 safer at home mandate was declared, we celebrated Sherry Sobel on March 5th as our Woman of Vision 2020 for her efforts that energized a now very vibrant advocacy committee. We volunteered at the Alpert JCC Purim Carnival by selling tickets and by staffing an organizational table. And Jean Holiday once again created and delivered Shalach Manot baskets to our under the weather members. Through the efforts of community service, we again provided the Purim Senior Lunch at the AJCC. And Lisa, next slide, Lisa and I staffed a table for the Long Beach Women's History Month celebration on March 10th. And then COVID-19 waylaid our in-person programs for March through June. However, with ingenuity and imagination, along with the co-VP of Electronic Communication, Dale Strux, my sister, her willingness to enhance her electronic skills and become our Zoom guru, we have begun to plan how we can proceed to make a difference in these uncertain times. We know it can be done. COVID-19 did not stop NCJW California from its annual lobby day on May 19th, which was held virtually, with speakers who trained 90 attendees on the bills that they would lobby for. And Long Beach had a significant contingent of advocates, many of whom had roles in the afternoon Zoom visits or conference calls with 4 of our area legislators or their staff members. So, Installation, virtual or not, celebrates what we have accomplished in the past year and looks forward to the incoming board under the leadership of our incoming president, Barbara Shipnuck. And there are my beautiful flowers that I thank you for. This past year, we were fortunate to have attracted 26 new members, thanks to our membership co-VPs, making the loss of key supporters of our section, among them Barbara Alpert, Frida Kaplan, and Jean Lenzner, just slightly easier to bear. So a hearty mazal tov to our section with 3 new board members for the upcoming year, and none of what we were able to accomplish this year into March could have been done without the steadfast and excellent work of our treasurer, Dawn Haldane, our co-VPs of communication, Ann Millman and Dale Strzok, as well as the work of our accomplished and reliable independent contractors, Sue Reveche, Michelle Techel, and Carolyn Yamaoka. So a big thank you to all our volunteers and advocates, because we could not do anything without you. So as I become immediate past present for the second time and the last time, I am so very proud to be a member of this organization that with so much heart helps to heal the world and is, as National has called us, quote, an example of what NCJW strives to be, unquote. When they approved our request to give significant financial help to 5 of our community partners with boots on the ground during the COVID-19 pandemic. Our national model has never been more meaningful. A faith in the future and a belief in action. So it is now my privilege to introduce Harriet Ellis, who will be our officiant for this afternoon, who will dismiss the current board and install our new board. A few facts first about Harriet.
Wait, excuse me, Linda.
Yes,
Do we have Harriet yet?
hopefully. We have Deb. There's Deb Kaplan-Wyckoff.
Yeah.
No,
Harriet,
Harriet was having difficulty coming in on the computer and was going to try to come in by phone. She has the phone number.
I have her speech if necessary. And Lisa does, good.
But it's been corrected too, so.
Right. The hazards of electronic lives that we have. Who is this coming in?
Said Deborah, I assume that may be Harriet's account.
Yeah, that might be her.
Yeah.
excuse me, but, right.
No, that was Deb Chenkin that just came in.
Can you hear Harriet by my phone somehow? Let's see. Say something, Harriet.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
So let me introduce Harriet, and then Harriet can talk.
I'm right here.
Okay, Linda's going to introduce
Harriet. So I found some interesting, I've known Harriet for the 12 years I'm here, and I learned some new things. Harriet Ellis was born in Memphis, Tennessee, and graduated from the University of Alabama with majors in art and English. I recently found out that Harriet's mother was a NCJW member in Nashville, and that Harriet had received a council scholarship for college. Though Harriet eventually took all her credits towards a master's in theater arts at UCLA, she started as a graphic designer, working in department store advertising in New Orleans. After moving to LA and designing clothes, Harriet moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico during World War II. When she returned to LA and shortly thereafter to Long Beach, she began her involvement with Temple Israel, leading to many different positions there, including several VPs. She was president a few terms, as well as stints on the regional and national boards of WRJ. Involved in many community activities, Harriet is very proud of having served on the committee to bring fluoridated water to Long Beach. She also served as president of the Southern California chapter of California Press Women. She served as editor of the Jewish Federation News, the precursor to the Chronicle, in 2 different and long time periods. And during that collective time, she received 38 journalism awards, both state and national, for our community Jewish paper. The same year that she received our prestigious Hannah G. Solomon Award, 2007, Harriet joined NCJW Long Beach, and she won a first place award for our Pillars from California Press Women. She's also served on the leadership board of the Jewish Studies program at Cal State Long Beach. She's on CLU, you know what that is, the Clergy and Laity United for Economic Justice. She's on the Jewish Film Festival Committee and Temple Israel. She served Temple Israel Social Action Committee. Currently, she's chair of Temple Israel's 100th Anniversary Archives Committee. And she writes on occasion for Orange County Jewish Life magazine. Harriet is proud of her 3 accomplished daughters, Deborah, who's going to be installed today, Claire, and Amelia, and their spouses. And I made up a word. She is the kfellingest grandma of her granddaughter, Sammy, and her grandson, Asher. And I turn it over now to our officiant, Harriet Ellis, who is our current Caring Corner chair. Thank you. Harriet.
Lisa, you need to unmute.
Unmuted.
Thank you.
Okay, start again.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes, speak loudly. Tell her to speak loudly.
Speak as loud as possible.
Oh, okay. That's I wanted to be sure everybody can hear. Okay. All right. I will start, and so much for virtual Zoom. They don't get to go star in my book. Out of all the sciences that I deeply love, is astronomy. I've always envied the astronauts exploring the heavens and even the arduous work entailed therein. So last week, I was intrigued by the fact that one of the 14 moons on Neptune, a large moon called Triton, is the only moon in the entire solar system that turns in the opposite direction of all the other moons on every planet. That's pretty amazing. So today, I'm honored to perform this inauguration of our new board of National Council of Jewish Women, Long Beach section. And I want to remind you that our women and men are not turning like the other moons, like so many other organizations just waiting for a pandemic to get us moving. We're not complacently sitting back and watching an uncaring world go by. We are like Triton. We turn in an opposite direction. We are women of courage and caring and valor. Just as Hannah G. Solomon reminded her small group of women in 1858 Chicago when she said, "Who is this new woman? She is the woman who goes out into the world and does what her convictions demand." You all are the women she described. So on that note, I'd like to invite 3 of our board members from our last board who are leaving their terms of office and thank them so very much for their considerable and dedicated service to our Long Beach section and our community. Those who will not be returning to the board are Barbara Cohen, Bobby Horowitz, and Sherry Sobel. We are deeply appreciative of your talents, ladies, your time and your strength to help us grow and function through this terrible coronavirus period. And just this past week, the unconscionable death of a Black American in Minnesota, which is seriously affecting all communities throughout the country, and it's resulting in a huge rise in anti-Black, anti-Semitic, anti-Asian, and anti-Latino bigotry. Ladies, please accept our deepest gratitude for all you have accomplished this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Harriet.
They're applauding you. They are applauding you on screen.
Oh,
okay.
Okay. Okay, others on the board who will return, segueing from their present positions, are Linda C. Fox, Joanne Levy, Ann Millman, Barbara Millman, Don Haldane, Judy Leff, Lisa Ralphman, Natalie Swit, Michelle Stryker, Deborah Machin, Sharon Brennan, Cynthia Gordon, Deborah Lewis, and Barbara Shipnuck. To you, we offer our deep appreciation for all you have achieved. I now declare you all relieved of your present board responsibilities to NCJW.
Yay.
Thank you. Okay. Now I'm delighted to introduce the newly elected members of our 2020-2021 NCJW board. Each of you comes to your positions with expertise and experience in an amazing diversity of areas, which will serve our Long Beach section well. And after reading your background, I have been so impressed. As each person is called, I've asked them to wave to you so that you can recognize them when we can once again join physically when this devastating pandemic is eradicated. But before I install you and make this official, I'd like to introduce each one of you, your board, and what you are responsible for. To save time, we will publish brief bios of all our board members in the issue of pillars so that you can better know your board. So when I call your name, will each of you please wave your hand, put it near your face so that our members can see who you are. Thank you. I will begin with Linda Fox. Linda becomes our immediate past president. Linda, you bring the experience and energy of 2 years and many, many more of an extremely active and creative past president. You will be able to mentor our new president with sage advice and many tips on how to survive the heavy load a new president will encounter. Our new executive vice president is Joanne Levy. She will assist and support the president and help her mentor in areas as assigned by the president. We are also going to welcome 3 new members to our board, and we're so pleased that they're joining us. Their experience in the wider world will only enhance our work in the humanitarian sector. We'll begin with Ann Millman and Dale Stroke. They will be our co-vice presidents of communication. They will take care of all our Zoom needs and bring you pillars and the e-blast we produce during the year. They will keep you up to date on NCJW news locally and on Capitol Hill. Now we welcome First Vice President of Community Service, Deborah Kaplan-Wyckoff, a first-time member of our board who will supervise our scholarship committee, kindergarten festivals, and hug packs, as well as any other programs that may develop in the tradition, programs that may be developed, In the tradition of Door Red Door, I say this, since Deb is my daughter, and Linda already told you that my mother was also a member in the 1930s and 40s in Nashville, Tennessee. Next are Cynthia Gordon and Deb Lelchuk, co-vice presidents of legislation and advocacy. They will coordinate Lobby Day and all other events related to legislation and advocacy, as well as our popular pastry and politics. And I know they'll do a great job. Our co-vice presidents of membership are Natalie Swit and Michelle Stryker. They will supervise our opening day event, as well as encouraging and reaching out to possible new members or NCJW. And we have a lot of new members this year, of which we are so proud. Now we have Sharon Brennan and Lisa Ralphman, co-vice presidents of programs. are charged with bringing new and exciting programs for our members to enjoy and learn at our various meetings. Our co-vice presidents of resource development are Deborah Lewis and Janice Simon. Janice is another brand new board member. These two will be possibly in charge of Charter Day. We have to see if we're going to have one, and all the fundraising, so that the other board members can perform all of our wonderful humanitarian endeavors throughout the year. Our treasurer is Dawn Haldane, continuing on our board and known far and wide as being so proficient at numbers in keeping us solvent. Now I want to introduce another new member, Recording Secretary Maria Osorio. She'll be our minute taker, and that's a very important job, as we all know. Next is our Financial Secretary, Judy Lett. She is returning to the board and keeps our membership files up to date. She issues the membership statements and collects the dues. Corresponding Secretary is Barbara Millman. She is also returning to our board. She will receive and send correspondence as needed for our section. And now for the woman of the hour, our next president of NCJW, Barbara Shipnuck. I hope you're waving, Barbara. Barbara is a fine example of the kind of intelligent woman that Hannah G. Solomon envisioned to lead her new organization into the future. She's deeply motivated and accepted the responsibility of leading us forward through the morass of our present health and political situation. And like our founder, is full of energy and spirit. She'll be a strong advocate regarding voters' rights, reproductive health, and justice for all, as well as advancing social change through Jewish values. I am proud to announce Barbara Shipnuck, our new NCJW president.
Very good. Thank you.
By accepting these positions, you have each shown your belief in NCJW missions and goals and your faith in the future. I charge each of you with your designated responsibilities and wish you success and much satisfaction in your endeavors. I would also like to mention that each board member will have her biography and a photo in our publications of pillars throughout the year, which you will see each month on your computer. We hope you get to know them better. So there you have it, ladies, our terrific board for 2020-2021. And we are so lucky to have such a group of talented, creative, dedicated, and energetic women. I would like to leave you with a bit of humor about Hannah Solomon. I quote from a member of her 19th century group who described the epitaph that she thought should appear on her tombstone upon Hannah's demise. And I quote, "Gone to another meeting, locality uncertain, return indefinite." Thank you.
And she says, goodbye. Great job. Great job.
Very good. Okay. We ready? Hi, everybody. It's a pleasure to see so many of you joining us this afternoon. I thank you for coming, and I particularly want to say hi to my daughter. It was at least nice to be able to see her for a few minutes, because as you know, during this period of time, we're really not getting to see very many people all of the time. I'd like to take some time on behalf of all of us to really thank Linda. Harriet mentioned that she served as president. This is the second time, and she served for 2 years, but that is not exactly accurate. Many of you know, but some of you don't know, that Linda had to assume the presidency a few months early due to the passing of her very close friend and our president, Linda Calderon. And even through all of her sadness and her grieving, she assumed the helm with grace and style and kept moving us forward. And Linda, I don't think you know how much all of us really appreciated your leadership and your strength in that period of time. And in the 2 years since then, she's been a mentor to me, and I think most new members of the board. Some of you have been on for a while, but others of us have only been on for a couple of years. Linda was always there for a phone call, always available to answer a question. Didn't matter how small, didn't matter how big. Seems like she knows everybody and everything and about both in the state and the national NCJW. And Linda, what I'd like to say is that unfortunately, because of the time we're living in and the fact that we can't be in person, we're not able to really show our appreciation in the way that we would like. But let me tell you that as soon as it is possible for a few board members or many board members to get together, we will show you our appreciation in the manner in which you deserve. So everybody, just a real thank you for Linda.
I will give you the gavel.
Okay, but if not, I can use one that I have in the interim. So thank you very much. Okay. I'd like to announce a few appointments. First, Bobby Horowitz is not completely leaving the board. I'm going to be appointing her as a member at large. And Bobby, thank you for being willing to stay on the board with us. Sherry Sobel, who had been executive vice president and wanted a bit of a respite, has agreed, however, to chair the bylaws committee. So Sherry will be working with us on an ongoing basis. And you all heard Harriet's resume and how she's working on a 100-year project for Temple Israel. We are in need really of a broader archive and a better historical record of our section. And so I'm very excited that Harriet Ellis and Barbara Wolf have agreed to be co-historians and will start trying to pull that project together, something we've long talked about, and I'm really pleased that we'll get it started this year. Now, I really grappled with comments that I was going to make today. And normally at a time like this, you talk about all of the events and accomplishments of the past year and how as a new president with a board that's coming in, you want to build on those and what you want to do for the future. But following this weekend's events and waking up in tears this morning and thinking back to over 50 years ago, and it's hard to believe it is over 50 years ago, that I was in Washington, D.C., and was fortunate to hear Martin Luther King give his I Have a Dream speech in person. That just didn't quite seem the kind of comments that I wanted to make today. And this past week, I think, have shown all of us that even though we may have moved forward in these past 50 years, the events that we saw, particularly that Linda alluded to over the weekend, have really shattered Dr. King's dream. And so what I really want to say to each of you today is that organizations like the National Council of Jewish Women are more important than ever. Our mission to turn progressive ideals into action and strive for social justice by improving the quality of life for women, children, and families, and safeguarding individual rights and freedoms has gained heightened importance this week. Whether continuing to fight for an individual woman's right to make decisions about her own body, or reaching out to communities of color and working to rid our country of the increasing incidents of white supremacy and anti-Semitism, or protecting every individual's right to vote and fighting for easy and safe access to the ballot box, we have much work to do. And we need to find like-minded partners to share that work. While increasing our efforts in advocacy, we cannot lose sight of the everyday needs of our vulnerable neighbors. We need to continue our community service and expand it in new and creative ways to meet the challenges of today. I look forward to working with my partners on the board and with each of you to further the Jewish concept of tikkun olam. And I say to each of you, let's do our part to help heal the world we live in, which is in great need of that healing. So thank you very much. I look forward to working with you. I look forward to growing our programs. I know the talent that's on the board with me, and I can't thank you enough for the service that you've provided to the community and for what I know will be a terrific year ahead. So thank you.
I believe I'm next with just a few closing messages. So as has been mentioned several times today, today was supposed to be our celebration of Shavuot with the brunch in my backyard. And since we can't get together in person and have blintzes and cheesecake, we were fortunate enough to be able to hear from Sharon Amster Brown on the meaning of the holiday. Thank you, Sharon, for your beautiful drasha and the lessons that we gained in confirming one's Jewish identity and the acceptance of Torah. Thanks again. I also want to thank Harriet, and maybe Deb can convey my thank yous, for installing the officers on board. And thank you to both the outgoing and the incoming officers for your leadership and your involvement in our organization. And I'd like to give a special thank you, as Barbara did, to our outgoing president, Linda Fox. Thank you for stepping up and, as was mentioned, filling the void when we lost our dear Linda Calderon at a time when exciting changes were taking place and things were moving forward. Linda, you truly are an NCJW woman. And as Harriet mentioned, in the words of our founder, Hannah G. Solomon, what is an NCJW woman? She's a woman who has the courage of her convictions, who expresses them when the occasion arises. She is a woman who dares to go into the world and do what her convictions demand. Thank you, Linda, from all of us. And finally, I want to wish our new president well, as she goes forward working together with the board to achieve our common goals during these very challenging times. We'll all be with you. And everyone is invited to help Barbara as we begin planning the new year by attending the Zoom retreat on June 18th. And if you haven't received an email yet, I'm sure there will be another one coming soon. So I want to thank all of you for joining us today for our first virtual installation. Have a good year.
Thank you, everybody. And this is probably an all-time short installation, right?
Well, it didn't include a meal.
Or an auction.
Okay.
So we will try to be, with programs, we'll try to be concise and to the point and have fun at the same time. And there's always a memory of you have to figure out what to do when Zoom doesn't work. I was a little bit worried that I'd have to do the speech, the installation, but the telephone saved me. I'm glad you could all hear it.
Thank you again, all of you, for coming. Thanks those of you who planned this and made it as seamless as it was. And it was relatively seamless. We didn't have any terrible glitches and everybody got to participate. And I look forward to seeing hopefully all of you on June the 18th. And if you can't be there, if you have some ideas, please send them in ahead of time. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Congratulations, everyone.
I wish everyone well.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I missed the food.
Stay safe, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Barbara Wolf was on too.